where I'm from, down in the Rio Grande Valley, there's not any hills, there's no mountains, none of that stuff. So whenever I'm out here in this area, which I was actually, I'm coming back from Laredo, I like to look to the west, and it never fails to amaze me. You can see the mountains there. I can't remember the name of the mountain range, but that's about 60, 65, 66 miles into Mexico from the area where I'm at right now. And on the other side of those mountains is Monterrey, Mexico. Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico. And ever since I was a kid, we used to come here to visit my grandparents. And those mountains, every time I saw them, I would, I don't know, it's just something about them that interests me, that grabs my attention. So I had to pull over and check it out real quick. I'm driving, I just turned off of Highway 83, driving towards, this is Highway 650. It takes you to Fronton, Texas. Fronton is a small community out there by the river, 5 miles outside of Roma, Texas. It's actually where my parents grew up, so I'm gonna go by to see how the little town, it's not even a town, it's more like just a little area community that's out there. We used to come visit a lot when my grandparents lived down here, and once my grandmother passed away back in the late, I want to say 1991, 1990 or 91, my grandfather moved out of here, so we stopped coming here for a long time. You know, I still had one aunt, some family that still lived down there, but there was a lot of things that would happen. A lot of people said that this place was haunted because of all the narcotics trafficking and alien trafficking that went on down there. There was a lot of people into black magic and witchcraft and stuff. And I remember myself seeing a few things that kind of, I wondered where, you know, what it was. I kind of, you know, I'll show you exactly where my grandparents live. I'll show you just something, one of my grandparents' neighbors, you know, they used to see a child, a little ghost of a child, I guess, in an area of their house. And my mom said when they were growing up that in that house there was a small child that ended up dying. The people there had a small store, and they'd give the kid some bubble gum, and one day he ended up choking on the gum and ended up dying. And we believe, you know, it kind of makes sense, and that's probably the ghost of the child. And I'll show you where that happened. I'll show you where that was seen. So this is the road. This is one curve here. I remember as a child, my grandmother on my dad's side used to live right here in this area. I remember coming to visit her at this house. Well, I'm not sure if the house is there anymore, but it's in that little, I don't know what you call it. One of those houses is where my grandmother on my dad's side used to live. I'll be right back. I'll show you some more of the community. Right here to the left side, there's going to be a cemetery. That's where both of my grandparents are buried. Actually, on my mother's side, and then my grandmother on my dad's side is also there. We just buried her a few years ago. This is the old cemetery. It's back there, but it's that one's a bit more spooky to be around. But here's the sign right here, Fronton. Oops, passed it. Anyways, this is the community. Like I said, as a young teenagers, we would come out here with my parents, and it was always fun. It was real peaceful back then. Everyone knew each other. There was never any police presence. Now there's, I guarantee you, we'll probably see some border patrol agents because, like I said, the river's right off of this little community. But this is a Fronton. You can see this is one of the community stores. I'm not sure if it's still open or not. There's a car there, but it used to be a little store, real nice looking store, Western country style store. used to be a house, and I guess they converted it into that. So as you can see, it's pretty overgrown. A lot of people just kind of, I don't know what happened, that people just started moving out of here and pretty much left everything abandoned. There's old homes. Lower my window. See, these are old homes. Not sure how old they are, but these houses have been here ever since my grandma, my mother was a child, I guess. Pretty interesting, pretty cool to see. There used to be a house right here, and my mom said when she was little that she saw something that was probably a ghost. There was somebody under a blanket, and when she looked under the blanket, it kind of just went under it. This is my grandparents' house right here, where my grandma and my grandfather live. The house was recently sold. Thankfully, it had been left alone for a while. As you can see, there's more older houses right there. You know, let me take this road here. It's just overgrown. I remember my grandma, I think it was my grandma's brother that used to live in this house. But you can see how old the house is, how old this place is, just by seeing the houses. And then this is where we used to play baseball as kids. Right here was where we would bat, and we'd hit that way. And that's where the Navarro family lived. And you can see where that shed is at. There used to be a store there. The concrete slab is still there under that shed. And that's where the family used to see a child ghost. Until one day they prayed over the house, and they started putting holy water everywhere, and that was the end of that kid. And they never saw him again. But yeah, this is Fronton. I remember one time right on this street, on this intersection where I'm turning, I was outside my grandparents' house, and something made me look over here, and I remember seeing a mist. It was just a mist. It wasn't a person or anything. It was just a mist that was right in the middle of the street. It was dark already, and it didn't scare me. I just kind of stayed, wondering what it was, or there was nothing going on outside or anything. So there was nothing going on outside. It was just a dark night, and I ended up seeing that. This here, I think this is it. There was a huge bus, one of the biggest buses ever. I think they caught about 3,000 pounds of cocaine, which is about $100 million worth of cocaine at that house. And that was back in I want to say the early 90s. So it was a huge bust that happened here. This is just a little community place. They used to have video games there. It's all abandoned now. It was a lot nicer back then. People kept up with their house and their yards and stuff. Now it's a lot different now. I hadn't been here in a long time, but completely different. Keep going straight. There's a church down that way. It's a little community church, a Fronton church. They got a little plaza here where the kids, I doubt anyone actually plays there, but they have it here. I remember as a child we used to ride four-wheelers all around here. Like I said, there was never any police presence or anything. But look at that, there's to report suspicious activity, call Border Patrol. So this is a street here, and this is on the other side. But here's some more old houses. I guess people still live in some of them, the ones that are kept up, but then you got stuff like this right here that are pretty much uninhabited. Just pretty cool to see, man. It's just something, you can see how old all this place is, how long it's been here. And I remember as kids, like elementary age, from my grandma's, we used to come to this. It looks like a house. It was always a house, but this part of the house was like the community convenience store. and we used to come by. I remember 10-cent boxes of Boston baked beans, and those things were delicious. Here's an old house right here. But yeah, it was this part on the left side where it says welcome. That used to be a community store. This lady here lived across from my grandmother. I can't remember her name. She was already an elderly woman. Used to sell ice creams and snacks from her house. This house looks like it's been remodeled. And there we have Border Patrol. Like I said, we used to come out here a lot of weekends. Not every weekend, but a lot of weekends to visit my grandparents. Don't remember this trailer home being there when I used to come. Oh gosh, I didn't see that bump. So here's the church I was mentioning. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's a little community church for the community. Cordero de Dios. Post office, never seen these here. Lamb of God Catholic Church, Fronton, Texas. If you continue going that way, that's pretty much a dead-end turnaround. When I was a kid, I think it was in elementary, came to church with my mom here, and I saw all the kids that were my age lined up out here, so I figured, you know, since I was a kid, maybe I was supposed to be outside. And I'm not even from here, but I didn't want to go inside with my mom because I was thinking, hey, all the kids are out here, maybe, you know, for some reason they're out here, so I'll stick out here. And the funny thing is, the reason they were out there in line was because they were having some kind of program that day, and every kid had a rose. And me being not from here, I didn't have a rose, and you know, I was somehow, I kind of involved myself in the program that they were having for the church, not knowing what I was doing. But I always thought that was funny. And then some other kid actually ended up giving me one of the roses, and I kind of just went along with what they were doing. We put them in a vase, and then they started singing. Of course, there's a house where they busted that $100 million cocaine bust. I want to say it's this house. I'm not too sure. I remember reading about it and seeing pictures in the news. But if you follow that trail right there, it'll take you to the Rio Grande River. This is just another old house here. And you remember the story I was telling you about the baby? This is going to be the, you can see the concrete slab right here. You can see the concrete slab there of the old store. And according to my mom, the kid that lived here way back then ended up dying. And then this is a house where they would see the baby, the child. I remember talking to the kid that was my age that lived there. His name was Christian Navarro. He had a younger brother named Juan, and they would tell us stories about that they would feel, you know, somebody pulling, tugging on their blankets at night. They would hear footsteps, stuff like that. There was one day that their mom and a bunch of people started praying for the house, that they stopped going through all that. And here's another house that looks like it fell down. Old house though, also. And I'm about to leave the community to get back on FM 650 and drive out. Not sure what else to show you, but these are just the rest of the houses. Here's that one of the first houses I showed you earlier. Actually, no, it was I came in the other way. It's pretty much just one big street. There's a few cross streets, but really interesting houses, just history, a lot of history, I guess. Stuff that went on down here. Like I said, the Rio Grande River is behind these houses, probably about half a mile down the road, down from these houses. So this is it, guys. There you see some brush back there, and there's a little town, like I mentioned earlier, it's called Los Guerras, and that town is actually a cartel stronghold. There's always fighting there. I thought I heard some gunshots earlier, not sure if it was down there or not, but yeah, anyways, this is it. I'm gonna start driving out now. Right at that house, one of my cousin's friends lived there. His name was Felix Gonzalez, and Felix is a star tight end, you know, because he was tight end with the Roma Gladiators. And I remember I think it was around the age of 14 or 15, he ended up committing suicide. He committed suicide there in that house, and is all for a girl, which is pretty stupid. We were teenagers at the time, and I still remember the day it happened. We got a call at my parents' house and from my uncle, just telling him that Felix had committed suicide. And I remember just questioning it, like, why would he do that? You know, like, we were all kids, we were all young, and I found out later on it was just for a girl that I guess didn't want to be with him anymore. Here I'm off of FM 650. I don't know why I didn't bring it up earlier, but there's a road there. It's kind of overgrown, but way down, maybe a little bit that way, which would be northwest from here. There's one house in there. It's probably about a 20-minute walk, but that is where my dad was born. I do have a picture of the house. If I find it, I'll go ahead and include it in the video. I just thought that was interesting. But yeah, there is a house back there, and that's where my dad was born.